So welcome to the coaching class. And tonight, I've got a special friend. I've known this man for, jeez, I mean, look at my, there was no gray beard at the time I got to meet Edwin Matlapeng. We played golf together, having too much fun. And I have known his business and stuff like that until Edwin said something that blew me out last week. And I thought we should talk about it right here. But let me introduce him first. He's a data warehouse architect and business intelligence developer. Now, if you don't understand that, don't worry, I don't understand it either. It's fine. We don't have to understand these things. But he's run his business since the 1990s, actually. He's been in this business for a long time. He consults for so many organizations, including government, by the way. And therefore, his advice on business is based on solid experience about how to do business. And today, I want to refer him to something he wrote on Facebook. And I'm going to read the intro. When people ask me, when is a good start or good time to start a business, I say it's when you have a purchase order in your hands. Edwin Matlapeng, good evening, my brother. Yeah, good to see you.
Same here.
How's the handicap? Handicapped.
It's way too low. Way too low.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
I know the feeling. And yeah, when you have friends like mine, they never give you a chance.
Absolutely.
My brother, you know, the people who follow us here are business people. Some of them are small startups, some of them have grown a bit, but it's all about entrepreneurs. And the advice that you shared here is amazing. But I'd like us to talk about the purchase order thing, starting a business. Everyone I meet, everybody who's called, everybody who inboxes me, I'd like to start a business. And I've never known what to say to them first. How important is this purchase order?
The purchase order is everything. Because without the purchase order, you do not have money. You're not in a position to raise money. The business is flat. There's nothing except for what you bring into the business.
Yeah.
So many people want to get an indication of when to get going. When to get going is not to put in a resignation letter to your boss and leave and stay at home and phone people. That's not when you're getting going. Getting going is being able to pay salaries, to pay for your phone, to pay for petrol and such things. So to have a purchase order is the beginning of everything.
It's everything.
It is everything, except, and this thing is directed people like us, except if you come from a well-to-do family, where you have uncles, and good credit record.
People who listen to us are not coming from those families. Yes.
Exactly.
They come from the same background as you and I.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. Those are the people who can afford to pay. I have 200,000, I need 200,000 as a loan to get started.
Yeah. So in a manner of speaking, you would advise that if somebody has a job and they want him to get into business, they must stick with the job while they're raising the purchase order.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially during these times.
Yes.
Especially during these times. Your customers are organizations and they are saving costs. So put one and one together.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds good to say I'm quitting, I'm going to do my own gig until you get there. And you can't pay for simple things.
You can't.
Because nobody's buying.
You can't. And most of what we hear this from is the singing in the shower mentality. You're singing alone in the shower and you sound good.
Yeah. I call it my boardroom meeting.
But if your boss says to you, you could open your own business with this kind of thing, he has engagements with suppliers as it stands. You don't want to get rid of with suppliers.
Yes.
And most of your target clients are in this situation.
So I've left. So I've done that purchase order and it has worked. Got two, 3 buyers, and I decided, okay, I can do this thing full time. It looks like it's stable.
Yeah.
Then you say the next thing is to understand the customer. You say that's everything. Understanding my customer is everything. What do you mean by that?
Most of one-man shows. We go into a client, we do what we do, we are absorbed with impressing a client with our work.
Yeah.
You need to ask, how did you get the job? Because that's what you need to improve on and sustain in the minimum. You need to understand what more would they want to see, where would they want to see you improve, what would make you keep the job for a long time. Many guys are in government. In government, there's rotation now. They can't hire the same guy for the same job every time. They need to give other people
they're making the circle bigger and they're spreading the cake.
They spread the cake. Yeah. But still, if you go to supply chain, they will give you the circumstances under which a continuation can happen, because it can. So that takes you out of your comfort zone of, hey, I'm a computer programmer.
Yeah, I'm good at this thing. They like me.
That's about 5% of why you got the job. There's a whole host of other things.
Do we have, though, as small business people, access to supply chain to go and ask those questions?
They are there. And, truthfully, they are very, 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 very helpful people. They are very helpful people. These are people who have been probably first job. I mean, I'm not trying to sound bad about people from government. Their first jobs have been in government. They came there as interns, and most of them have got like 4 or 5 years experience. So they understand the processes very, very, very well. And they are very available, and they've been very, very helpful, at least to me.
Yes.
To people I've referred to. Yeah, so they are there. They are very helpful.
And excuse me, you also speak about the fact that it is a hard thing. If you treat a small job without diligence, you're actually working against yourself. Because that's exactly when you should be more diligent, because it's so small.
Absolutely, and this I've read. I'm not the kind of person who quotes who and who. I know it's there.
Yeah. Me too. I don't throw quotes.
But if you treat the simplest, most mundane tasks with the diligence, attention, and that kind of thing, it becomes easier. It's habit to do it with the big jobs as well. And that point is multifaceted when I REMS, because a lot of the time when people start to do well, we want to look at the material sides, the money sides, and that kind of thing. There's a whole host of other things which are embedded in, I'm going to use you, REMS Mabote, not driving an expensive car. It's part and parcel of that deliverable, of maintaining your cash flow, because it's going to happen. You are going to go through a trough.
Like clockwork. It's going to happen. It happens with everyone. Yeah.
You are not then supposed to go down with the business. That's what that money is for.
Yes.
You understand that? In the same way with commitment to tasks. Small tasks, boring tasks, you have to, push yourself, do that, finish things, be on time. It's a whole ecosystem of habits, of behavior, things you have to ingrain in yourself and rewire yourself, if there's such a concept, to be able to do that without an effort.
So I got the small jobs, and I've been very diligent. I've made sure that I take care of them. I deliver on time. All the things that you say I must do. Then I get the big one. Then the big order comes out, and you say, when that big order comes out, in preparing for my proposal, one of the things I need to ask client is, what is your requirement?
Absolutely.
We tend to think, but I know their requirement. You say we should ask.
We should ask. I have seen it happen with big organizations. I happen to have worked with the big multinationals before. And in very simple English, clients actually outline what they want in 5-10 lines. The minute you go into the organization, your requirements document become a 20-pager. It becomes a 20-pager, and in many cases, they do not have the skills inside to articulate and ventilate all the aspects of what they require. It's your job to find out, and you don't have to find it out after they've given you the order. After you find out that the order is actually 15 million and not 1 million, you have to now deliver on that thing, because you got the job, you signed up, you're going to do this. This is supply chain things. Government, for instance, they can blacklist you if you don't deliver on a thing, because you misunderstood the requirements. And
you get blacklisted. I think that's what I like. You must punish ignorance. I think ignorance is a crime in my view. You're saying preparing a well thought out proposal and costing the smallest deals. Isn't that the mistake we do? Got a big proposal and I forget about the small things. I always speak to young small business people who come to me, and somebody sells, let's say, fragrance. And I say to them, how much do you sell the fragrance for? And they say 150 rand. And say, okay, what is in the 150? What is the petrol? What is the storage? And they don't cost out those smallest details.
Absolutely. And then a guy is successful, he's selling very well, but he's running at a loss.
But he's not making money.
It's worse with the guy who get a tender and then they start spending money. Or even if they don't spend, just from the normal, not occasional, but I think his built-in costs.
Yes.
He doesn't make any money because it did not cost what they do well. And I think some people do it intentionally because they don't want to see that the business is not profitable. Sometimes a good idea is not a business idea.
Yes.
It can be a very, very good idea on paper, but it's not a good idea in and of itself. You need to complement it with other value-added aspects to make it a going concern. And this is where now and again you have to partner with someone else. You have to work with someone else because you...
I'm going to stop because I don't want us to talk about partnership. Okay. That is our next conversation. When you come back here, I want us to talk about partnerships.
No
because
problem.
We get that wrong a million times.
Absolutely.
And we think when we partner, we're giving away our business to somebody else, and that's not true. But let's deal with that later. But I want you then say something which I think is a completely controversial, if not difficult. I must ask client who's going to decide on the job.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And we are afraid to do that.
We are.
Because you could be speaking to a guy who does not have the authority to make the decision. And one of the saddest things about small businesses is that most of our guys are speaking to that guy who likes the,
Yes.
the publicity. But he's not going to have a say in who gets the job eventually. And it's not against the PFMA, to ask who is going to make the decision. It can be a committee, it can be...
So it's not illegal?
It's not illegal. You are asking a procedural question because you want to know on what grounds are you going to get the deal or lose out on the deal.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you can do something about. You have to know.
My favorite. I love this one and I've always believed in it. I'm not sure if I've ever practiced it enough, is asking what is the payment turnaround or terms.
Yeah. Many organizations, from a cash retention and in the private sector revenue protection point of view, the money go into them very quickly, but it takes a long time to go out. Look at your order online. You made a mistake. So they took $5,000 from your account. It will take you a year to get the $5,000 back, So they are working to procedures and policies. They will tell the people at the call center to say to you, they will get paid in a week. And then every time your call comes in, a different person, there's software to do that. So you need to know that from a payment point of view. We all want our staff to be at Pick and Pay, excuse my name.
They'll have to pay us one day.
The big stores, One of the things I found out to my shock was that these guys can actually be paying people 90 days. They can take up to 90 days. Imagine
That's killing my business. There's a small business. If I supply these guys with water and they pay me in 90 days, that could kill my business.
It could. It absolutely could.
So I have a right to ask them that.
You must ask them that.
Should I also negotiate if they say 90 days? Could I say to them, guys, 30 days would make it better for me?
Normally, from a negotiation point of view, they're sitting with the power, but you must negotiate.
Yes.
You must negotiate. Because after that, you need to go back to your bank and tell them, from this point on, I'm going to make payments after 3 months.
Yes.
Because that's when my clients are going to pay me.
Jeez. Of course, then I've done all those things. I've prepared, I've asked the right questions, and then I've gone to my consultants and we've put together this amazing proposal. And it goes wrong.
Yeah.
I don't get the job.
Yeah.
You say I must ask why it was rejected.
Yes. It's legal. It's a legal requirement, and I don't see a lot of people practicing it. It's I don't know if it's PFMA, but you are actually, from the time you deliver a tender in the government sector, they need to open the tenders and tell everybody how much everybody else's price was. They need to do that.
Yeah.
That does not mean we to know the cheapest guy is going to.
Yeah, it's not always about price. Yes.
Exactly. That they need to do that. They have a name for that. But also, you are entitled to phone or write an email, a letter, whatever, and find out from the people, especially the contact on the documentation, as to why did we miss out on this thing. You are asking because you want to come in next time and win, or get a better chance because you've eliminated the first problem. You see, but the thing that the thing that you mustn't do is to assume that the one client's problems or the thing that you lost for is going to be the same as the next client. What made you lose there could be exactly what they need on the other client.
Yes.
So one of the mistakes I used to make was to take whatever one client told me and apply it with many clients. And then it turns out each and every client has got a different set.
And they may value something more than the other.
Exactly.
If there are 4 variables, it may be more important. This one variable may be important to government department X, but another department likes another variable.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Matlapeng, let's talk about this. Because of our history, because of things that have happened in this country, black people have gone through a rough patch. And we try things, guys, we put together businesses, we try these things and that thing. But there's also something that's lacking in behind. We believe we're entitled to business opportunities, especially where government is involved.
Yeah, we do. You have to put yourself in the shoes of and it's difficult, you and I fight sometimes about politics. And then one of the things that most of the populace of SA do not, and I think it happens all over the world, they never see life and things and events as a government employee. Government employees are not your top government.
They're not ministers, they're not politicians.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are people who have been employed at a particular department. They went for training with the PSA and all those things. So they understand about PFMA. They wrote tests on that stuff. They understand about PFMA and those kinds of things. So you as the potential service provider, you need to understand that first. That's your first line of interaction. That's your interface with these people.
See, my first line is that the minister said, there are opportunities here. Yeah.
So you need to be able to ask or know, what will make me win this thing? What are going to be the driving factors, etc., etc. But the problem becomes now when we feel, I have not been winning. I've been submitting a tender every month. Nothing is happening.
Yeah.
You need to find out. If you know what is the reason why you didn't find. Somebody called me at some department and then they asked me, hey, you didn't submit this time. Why didn't you submit? And I said, I did not see anything. And then they showed me communication from inside to know, we hope this guy can, because his only problem was this technical and that technical and that technical.
And if he fixes this, this guy must get this.
They want me.
And the guy doesn't pitch. The guy doesn't pitch.
I did not pitch, Mom. So I think one of the reasons, not the exhaustive, is that entitlement to the business, because you are black, you've got the BEE, you've got the VAT and everything else. The business requirement becomes something of a.
And the sad part, as you say, is that when we don't get it, we then scream corruption.
Hey, we do. Hey.
And you see that on social media, that department is corrupt. We've been putting in our bids, and Matlapeng is the only one who wins. But he makes the efforts. He checks, he crosses the T's. He does all the things that he does. You don't. And you're thinking, because I'm black, I must get the job. There's another complaint that we always make. But the business has been going on to this man for so many years.
Yes.
Why don't we get a chance?
Yes.
Now, as a buyer, I want the best service provider, isn't it? So even if it's the same guy, if I'm guaranteed of the service or the product, I'm going to go to that guy.
You have to compete with that guy.
Yes.
You see, you have to compete with that guy, and you have to know the guy. One of the things I've seen when I run is I know you want to touch on the partnership thing now.
Yeah.
I have been lucky with the partners, because sometimes you go in with a partnership. That guy may need something from you. We need to engage, man. You need to, scratch that shoulder and say, John, man, how do you do this? How do you get this thing? I want to get in there, and I know I want your business. He probably needs somebody to help him somewhere else.
we touched on this a bit as we're gonna go to, but I want to read what you have written yourself. Okay. I've been working with government since 2013, and I have never waited more than 14 days to get paid.
Yeah.
Who do you buy cool drink for? I've waited 140 days to get paid. I've waited a year to get paid, and I won't mention the government department.
These guys, they pay on Tuesdays. They have runs, every government department, same thing. They pay on Tuesdays, and then the money reflects on your account Thursday night, Friday morning. Every government department. So if you know the processes behind the scenes that happen, who signs off what, because your client must sign off your invoice first, and they like to take things upon themselves. And this is the thing. It's such a compartmentalized industry, government. Your client may not know the people in supply chain.
Amazing.
You see?
You take it for granted that my client will know.
Exactly. They don't.
He's head of IT, so he should know the other guys. No?
Many times they don't. He knows what to know. There's a CFO, and then everybody falls into the CFO's department. So they go to the CFO's PA. The CFO forgets the C. The thing is sitting there. So I was lucky in that my first business deal was a private telco company, and I needed to pay. We had about 5-6 people at the time. More than 300-400 grand. They were on massive salaries. And we didn't have money. For the first time that I have people, all along I was working alone. No, there was 2 of us who were working under this big company. Yeah. But then after that, we were on our own. And I had to pay salaries, but not just to the 2 ladies, but to 6 people. So I went to the finance guy. I told him, hey, you need to pay me today. I went at around 3-4, it was a Friday. I went to buy.
You're lucky to find them at 3 o'clock.
No, I was sitting there from 9. I gave him the thing at about 9 after my client signed off my invoice. I sat with him. He had to get calls from who. I wrote the names down. I went to them now and again. Did you sign the thing from Mr. J? Yeah, no, we signed it. Okay, I've sent it. You can go back to him now. For about 2-3 hours.
So you followed your invoice?
Yeah, right through the organization.
Wow.
And it's a big company, but only 4 or 5 people had to sign it. And
that's a lesson we all have to learn.
It's a lesson you have to learn. And then
So
he paid me that day. I paid my guys 2-3 days ahead of time, and everybody was happy after that. And I've practiced that for each and every client, including government. Government is challenging because they don't know. So you have to go yourself and ask, who does this? Who does what?
So get off your chair, get out of that office and go to know those people there. Lastly, you say, one great competitive advantage in this country is a small paper called tax clearance certificate. Why? I never thought, although I have one.
Yeah, it's a. I don't like to do tenders that I don't know how they come about.
Yeah.
But one of the things which are there, which gives you a massive chance, which says you can reply to any tender, is a tax clearance. If you have a tax clearance, you have your CSD organized, everything is organized. If everything is compliant, you can win a tender that you don't know. That you don't know. Yeah. Seriously, yeah. Because most people that you see in these expensive cars, expensive suits, they are not compliant. They are going to open a vehicle because they have to. There's another thing about them. They have to deal with who and who and who.
And that's where corruption starts. You have to bribe somebody. Whereas if you are compliant,
if you're compliant, you can respond to any tender because you're going to make the first stage, and the first stage is that compliance.
Yes.
Those compliance.
It's paperwork.
It's a paperwork.
Before we talk about proposal.
Before we talk about proposal, the SBD form that you mentioned in there, all those things have got to be in line. If those things are in line, you are past the first stage. And I don't have empirical evidence to this, but I can tell you now, more than 50% of people fall down on the first stage.
If you take nothing else out of this conversation, please, as a business person, get your tax clearance certificate in order all the time, which means pay tax and be compliant. Matlapeng, my brother, thank you so much. So here's I want a commitment from you that I can have you here once a month.
I'd appreciate
it. Is very important.
I'd appreciate it.
For me, one of the things that matters most is the advice we can give to others.
Absolutely.
Whatever we have learned, if we don't share it with other people, it's completely useless because we know it already. It means nothing to us, but it can mean a lot to other people. So I'm getting you into this coaching class as part of the coaches, and I'd love to work with you. How can people get hold of you if they want to ask you questions privately? Not necessarily your phone. They can follow you on Facebook or something like that.
Edwin Matlapeng.
Yeah.
All my handles.
All the handles are Edwin Matlapeng. Find him on social media, ask him questions.
Yeah.
But most importantly, bring business his way. He's a data warehouse and architect and business intelligence developer. He's Edwin Matlapeng and he's been our guest on the coaching class. Huda, thank you very much.